What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey,
Yeah.
what's
How
going
y'all
on?
doing?
Hey. Amazing. How are you?
Good, good, good. Welcome to the Can I
Yeah.
Get Some podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Damien, and right to my side, I have my co-host, Shannon, and our new co-host, the mistress of everything hot and spicy, Miss Jazzy, Hot Wife Uncensored. How y'all doing?
Great.
Absolutely amazing. How are you
Good,
guys?
good, 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 good,
I'm
good. I'm
good. I'm
doing
good.
well. I'm doing well.
Good.
This is an interesting topic. It was Miss Shannon was the one who wanted to really dive deep into this topic. I know it's been talked about, but I think there's a lot of different perspectives that people can bring to this topic. It's not just one conversation. I think it's a succession of conversations in order to get some real understanding on how the way people feel about the Supreme Court striking down the federal protection for abortion rights. So, yeah, uh, tell me what your thoughts on it, Miss Shannon.
Um, well, I think that I mean basically what I've been seeing, it just kind of seems like America is treating this like a women's issue. And even though it is a woman's issue, anatomy wise, but I think it's also something that's going to affect men as well. And I think that's like it seems like no one's having that conversation, like how this is actually going to affect men across the board or moving forward. But I think I think it's a sad thing um, for many reasons. I guess the main reason would be I'm a woman, and I feel that when it comes to what's going on with my body and my life, that I should be able to make a decision um, because that's ultimately going to affect me and no one else. Um, so I think that I would consider myself pro-life, but I'm also pro-choice.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So you're
I
pro-life
don't
with pro-life with conditions, like there's certain instances where you can like, okay,
exactly. So for instance, I don't think that women should be having abortions at 6 or 7 months because at that point, the child can live outside of the mother. It can live without the mother. But 6 weeks, um, it cannot live without the mother. It cannot live outside of the mother's body. So, um, yeah, I think, that's kind of like where I feel I am pro-life, but I'm also pro-choice. Um, so that's what I have to say so far.
okay. How about you, Jazz? Well, before you jump in, Jazz, I want to say something. You said, okay, I just want to respond to something. You said it. You feel like it doesn't affect anybody else. Do you think it affects the men who are impregnating the women? If women are deciding, to that if women aren't able to have abortions, how do you think that affects the men that are having sex with the women and impregnating them? How do you think that affects them?
Well, it would definitely affect the father if the child is brought into the world because, then he's going to be responsible for, or, he should be responsible for taking care of it. Um, but I guess I can understand how, like, if a woman has an abortion and the guy wanted the child, I could see how the man may feel a sense of loss or, kind of like it's not fair because he didn't have any say. But from what I've seen, ultimately, a man is able to get over it. I mean, um, you can try again, I guess. I mean, that me personally, and just what I've witnessed, men in that situation, like I said, it's like, it seems unfair. There's a sense of loss and sadness, but eventually the man gets over it.
Something that
And
I recently saw something, and I was wondering what you guys' thoughts. I'll let you jump in here in a minute, Jazz. I just want to ask this. You both can answer, and then if you want to kind of give me your initial perspective on it, Jazz, that'd be great. If a woman consents to have sex with a dude and she gets pregnant, but knowing that the dude does not want to have children, is it justification, and should it be allowed that the father not participate in the rearing and the raising of a child? Because a lot of ways women were dealing with that eventuality, unfortunately, statistics will show, is having abortions. If they got with a dude, she get pregnant, and then he realized, I'm not trying to be with you, that they will resolve it. In some cases, would be having abortion. If that's not available to them, should the man still have the right to say, I don't want to be a father, and the woman have to take on the full responsibility of raising the kids on her own? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I as a woman who have been faced with these type of challenges, right? So I'm only speaking from myself. But as a woman who's been faced with these type of things, along with having brothers as my siblings, right? I believe that if a man says to me or says to a woman, listen, this is not what I wanted us to do, whatever. I was irresponsible, however the conversation go, right? I just don't want the damn baby. That's it, right? Like, I don't consider myself about to marry you, none of that, or whatever the conversation got to be, right? Then he should have input on that. Now, if she's still like, what, F you, I'm still about to have this baby, this my baby, then that's your baby. That's your baby. And I don't think it's fair that a person who says out their mouth before this child comes to this world that I do not want to actively participate in this situation with you. And then the other person says, well, fuck you, I'm still doing it. It's like, yeah, I mean, I get where people come from. Like, nah, he still did it. He was irresponsible. But it's like, at the same time, though, we do need to consider other people. So is he completely off the hook? I don't know how that really looks, right? But I think it really needs to be weighed in that he never wanted a child.
What about you? What do you think about that, Shannon?
I agree to an extent. So I can understand, like, men who are absent or women who are absent. I can understand why they're absent. But let's go back to men. Like when y'all are having, when a man is having sex with a woman, I feel like he's in control because he is the one that holds the sauce. Okay. So there are many things that a man can do to prevent getting a woman pregnant. I'm not sure if there is contraceptive for men that like a pill that they could take. But I think there are medical procedures that men can go ahead and have. I don't know what age that they would be eligible to do that, but there are also condoms, and there's also the pull-out method, and they work great. So that
Jazz is like, nah.
That shit don't work.
No, because
semen is like, it's that one sperm, Shannon. It's that one. So you can pull out, but it's that one.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I feel like I think a lot of guys don't even try. They don't even try because they're getting caught up in the moment. I've heard stories where, I mean, I've even experienced before where they try to slip the condom off, so it's like, once you shoot up the club, whatever the issue is, once you shoot up the club, there's a chance that a baby's going to happen. And so once it's in there, unfortunately, and it's unfair, but unfortunately, like once it's in her and it's growing in her, you don't really have a say. You really don't have a say. And once the kid gets here, you could decide that you don't ever want to have anything to do with the child, but by law, you are responsible for 18 years. And this was actually my cousin's. I have a cousin. This was his story. Like his father, I believe his father maybe wanted to be in his life, but there was an issue with him and my auntie. And so he wasn't. He's never seen him, never hang out with him, never sent any cards or gifts, no calls, nothing. They know nothing of each other except for that he exists. However, he sent child support on time every month for 18 years. And as soon as he turned 18, that was the end of that, you know? So by law,
I couldn't be a man. I promise you. I could not be a man. God knew what he was doing when he made me, because baby, I promise you. Oh, I don't know.
I mean, me personally, if like if I was to get pregnant and a man begged me to not have the kid and told me like, look, I really don't want to do this, like I would probably, I would probably consider having the abortion, because you have to think of the child. Yep. You have to think of all of the drama that could possibly, because you could, it's a like I said, my cousin, and he has issues. Like they're, never even seen the man, has never even seen.
I'll ask you a question. Do you agree with this statement? Women control who has sex in the world.
Of course.
I mean, they should.
We do. And that's right. But we do.
Okay.
Most of the time, because there are sometimes, but that's another conversation.
Well, I don't mean who has, has consensual sex, I should just say. So let's look at it. The second question: do women control who gets born in this world for the most part?
Of course.
Yes.
All right. So if a man says, I want to have sex with you, what have you, is it the women saying, okay, authorizing, for the most part, like I said, authorizing the sexual act to happen?
Yes.
So, all right. And if he says to you up front, I don't want kids, whatever, but I don't want to wear a condom because I don't like the way they feel, I'm allergic, whatever bullshit men say to get out of wearing a condoms, whatever. I'm sterile, whatever bullshit dudes kind of run on you. Is it still up to the women to have a consensual sexual act just happen?
I would say yes.
Okay, so if that's the case, then if the man says, I don't want to have kids, are you indirectly consenting to be a single parent?
Yeah, if that man just said that he do not want children at that time, like, yes, that's exactly what you're consenting to. And we can say whatever, but if a person expressed their concerns, like, yo, I'm about to finish college, I'm trying to do this, or I'm married to somebody else, or whatever the case may be, like that man has expressed that to you, right? And so even for myself, and I'm just being grown, right? I'm just saying even about my own poor ass decisions I've made. You can't hold somebody else to the fire. And we both are consenting adults. Like, no, we both have to make an informed, intelligent decision, and whatever that looks like. So I definitely am not of the mindset of men being trapped, women doing these type of things, or whatever the case may be. We're the reason that there's relationships and all these other things, because we gonna seduce it, and we want what we want.
So would you say it's more a woman's responsibility to make sure that she is not put in this position to have an abortion?
I don't want to put it exclusively.
I'm just asking. I'm just playing. I'm just asking questions.
Exclusively on the woman, but
I'm saying she has more at stake, so she would want to take on more of the responsibility.
Yeah, I was about to say, now for me, for myself, right, being raised with a single mother after my parents were divorced, I took on the burden of that. Like I took on the burden of all of that. Like this is my body. Dang, you could lie about having an STD. Somebody can lie about X, Y, and Z. People lie about all type of stuff every day, all day. It is my responsibility to take care of this temple here and to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can do. So, it's just being responsible. I'm not trying to blame one person more than another. But we can't just keep saying, well, he shot up the club, here come the baby. Like, no, that man told you he don't want. Nah, y'all had some fun last night, but damn, that's it. That's it. We didn't did that. Like, and people can judge you for that, but like, if you ain't had a one night stand or something like that, you ain't living anyway. So you wouldn't. You shouldn't.
Well, I'm like, I would say, that is not my view of it. It's just that some of the talking points I'm hearing from a lot of men on the around about who ultimately holds the most responsibility when it comes to putting women in a position to need or require the services of an abortion. So that's all I was asking about that.
I want to say this though. In most cases where sex happens, people are not having those conversations. People are not sitting there saying, well, hey, look, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. You got a condom, you got da-da-da. That's just, especially with young people, those conversations just aren't happening. It's like, a lot of dudes feel lucky to even be getting some. So they ain't even thinking about talking about no damn, look, this is, they just want to go ahead and get it done. They get caught up in the heat of the passion, they get caught up in the moment and things happen.
Should parents be having this conversation with their kids if they know they're getting at that age where sexual activity might become
definitely. And I hear so many parents. I honestly think that kids need to be educated like before 10, but I hear so many parents like, ew, no, I don't want to have that conversation. I don't want to talk to them about that. Da, 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 da. But it's like, what you fail to realize is that they're having that conversation. They're having that conversation with their peers. They're having that conversation probably with adults with these video games that they're playing. There's no telling what they're talking about. They're being exposed to things through the music, through the cartoons, the movies, the social media. So they're having that conversation. As a parent, you better get in there and make sure that you enforce on them what it is you think is right and what you think is wrong. Otherwise, the world will.
That's right. Yeah.
I want to know if y'all agree with this statement. Do you think that this is kind of like the whole Supreme Court repealing the abortion protections is kind of setting up the way, clearing the path for them to repeal other stuff? Because Clarence Thomas, one of the oldest sitting Supreme Court justices, was saying that how he wants to look at not only same-sex marriages but abortion pills and stuff like that. Do you feel like it's just kind of a red herring to like open the door for them to have discussions on repealing protections for other stuff?
Yes, I do. This definitely sets a precedence. And I think in some places what they say, I don't quote me on this, but I think it's Ohio, they are trying to ban Plan B.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a great, like, Plan B has been a lifesaver,
Yeah.
I'll be
a lifesaver.
Not for me personally, but I have listen, I know, not me personally, but I know some people who
man, it's funny because like I want to show a clip. Like I was watching the Daily Show back in the day. Like this is a little bit older, but it's still kind of relevant to what we're talking about. I'm gonna show a clip of a Daily Show when he was talking about that thing. And this is what got me first thinking about: is this just like the first step to repealing a lot of well-protected, hard-fought freedom? So let me go ahead and pull up my man Trevor Noah's show. All right.
Because they're saying that this is just the beginning.
Some emboldened House Republicans want to take this
one step further by pushing legislation to ban abortion at 15 weeks nationwide. We know that Vice President Mike Pence, who wants to run for president, supports a nationwide ban on abortion.
Another big question is over the abortion pill, as it's called. Some states may want to target that medication.
In the states that ban abortion, it is illegal to get those pills from a doctor. And some states are trying to go further and also ban receiving the pills by mail from a state where they're legal.
Yeah, you see, conservative extremists aren't going to stop fighting just because they got Roe overturned. They just won a huge victory. Why would they quit now?
All right. See, that's I think that's kind of the sentiment, is that it's kind of it's open season on all kinds of protections,
Right.
that we got, so it's what are your thoughts on that, as far as using it as a justification to ban or repeal protections for other stuff?
I can see it coming. I mean, I see that happening. Gay marriages, definitely, I feel like going to be on the chopping block next.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny because they're saying that they want to, but the line is, it's not banned. It's just sending back to the states or what have you. But, if we look at like who's getting an abortion in what states, the most people that are going to be directly affected are Black and brown people, because, we take advantage of these services at a significantly higher rate than Caucasian and Asian people. So that's what one of the major points that the pro-abortion rights, or actually, excuse me, let me use the term of women's reproductive rights advocates are saying that that it's just a way to another thing that's going to disenfranchise people of color. So, that's the kind of way I'm looking at it.
I don't share that same agreement with that.
Okay.
So for me, right, I really do pay attention to both sides and what people are really saying. So like you have people on the left that has that argument, but then we are it's very in your face on the other side, the right side, that they are working diligently to protect their race here in America. They have also documented, and it's been quoted, and you can look on YouTube, right, that within like 300 years, their race, Caucasians, European Americans, will be completely freaking extinct from the damn planet. So like they are trying to get their numbers up, and they've said it. So even like when President Trump came out, what was that, last week or the week before, on somebody's platform, and the lady thanked him and was like, "Thank you for saving our race." They're in your damn face telling you, but we're making up other commentary what is going on, and it's like, nah, like the fact that they closed the borders for Mexicans, y'all, like they hit them with sticks and all type of stuff to get them the hell out of here. They got rid of all of our African brothers from the African diaspora, got rid of their asses too. No chocolate allowed, no caramel allowed. But now we all of a sudden got money for Ukraine ass to come in here. Now why? Because they look like who? The people that they're trying to protect. So
okay, well, hold on. What you call it? Let me give some context to some of the stuff that you said. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not defending anybody. The woman who said, accidentally said the word white is, would it make a difference in your mind if you found out she's adopted? She has like 12 kids, and like 8 or 9 of them are like kids of color, Black, Hispanic, Indian, things like that. That she's actually adopted and raising kids of color. Would that change your mind of thinking that she might have trying to been sending a dog whistle regarding what the real issue is?
no, because she's not the only one that said it, Damien. This is something that's being said daily. This is the commentary. It's not just her. Everyone loves to say, "Oops, Freudian slip." Oh, sorry.
I'm just asking.
And you're like, Yeah, all right. I heard
Yeah.
you. I heard you. So it's just,
So,
for me, I'm just not one of those, buck jiving Negroes that, you come eat some watermelon and come to church and, be cool. Like, nah, I heard you. It's
let me
cool.
pull up this. So we got a comment here from actually TJ. He was the guy, my boy on the panel last week.
Oh,
Banning
yeah.
Play P makes no logical sense. Not these fools have an interest in logical decisions. That's what's up. And then he responded to what I just said. Said, "Is she raising kids to be black culturally? I bet not. That's
Exactly.
usually how it goes. Usually
Right.
how it goes where." You get those people who be like, I don't see color, instead of saying, I see your color and understand the struggle you might be going through because of it. And you might
And
have
it's a
to, you
real
might do it.
thing. Like, just say that and be cool with it. Like, when I see
Yeah.
other people of other nationalities, I recognize who you are, and I'm going to talk about whether it's your favorite dish that I like, whether it's your music or whatever the case may be. I'm going to embrace that. I would be a liar to say that I don't see that. I see the beauty in how you have been created different than I am on this planet. And that's the beauty of being here. Like, what you mean? Angelina Jolie. Am I right? No. Yeah, Angelina Jolie. She adopted, kids of color. But she made the little boy a girl, or maybe it was his decision. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm with TJ. You ain't raising them and giving them what Shannon and Damon give them. I mean,
Yeah,
Damon,
yeah.
I ain't trying to like put y'all together. I was just examining.
I got you, girl.
What do you think? What percentage do you think of Americans think that abortion should be legal in some cases? What percentage do you think we're fine the way things was? Because a lot of justifications are people using this as saying that the vast majority of people, think that it should be illegal or what have you. Do you have an idea what percentage you think is pro-choice?
You know what? I honestly think most people are pro-choice, and I think most people do feel like, okay, it's a woman's decision, but of course there's got to be some guidelines there. Like I said, I don't think that, women should be waiting until they're 6 or 7 months to have an abortion. I think most people would agree with that. But at the same time, once you find out, okay, it's been 6 or 7 weeks, okay, can the baby live outside of your body? Okay. You have to take those things into consideration.
Yeah.
I mean, and then as well as you do have a lot of cases of rape and incest. And I don't feel that anyone should have to have that child if they've been raped or if they've been molested by a family member or a friend or whatever. I don't think that person should have to have that kid. And I've seen the argument that, oh, well, those cases only represent 1%. Well, let me tell you something. That 1% is the 1% that gets reported. Most of that stuff, most rapes and most incest cases do not get reported.
Right.
They just don't. So they're really, to say, oh, that's only 1%, you don't really know that. I mean, what did the numbers say? Like 20% of men report that they cheated. It's way more than that. Okay. It's way more than that.
But remember, it's still though. I think it was said it was like 28% of men reported that they were unfaithful, but
it's way more than that.
24% of women said they were unfaithful. So y'all ain't too far behind.
Way more than that.
So regardless, if it's like 30-40%, women are right there behind you, getting it in.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you right now. For women, it's a way more than that.
I mean, and I was actually read a study. This was a couple of years ago when they said that it was like 22% of men are raising kids that ain't theirs and they don't even know it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's more than that.
It's way more than that.
Yeah.
Like you said, those are the people
I've seen it in my family, many families. I be looking like, dang, that baby don't look. Oh,
seriously.
hold on.
Man. I was watching Howard Stern once, and you know how Arnold Schwarzenegger had a kid with the maid, and it was like his boy was
Yeah.
that actor Tom Arnold, and he went over his house for the maid would bring her kids over and for like birthday parties and stuff like that, because they had these big like carnival like birthday parties, and he was like, yeah, bring the kids. And then one day his boy Tom Arnold walked in and was like, man, that little boy looked just like you. Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, nah, you know, he was just like, oh, my bad. Turns out that was his kid.
Nah, and that was a real story?
Yeah, he really said that. Arnold Schwarzenegger had a kid with the maid. And but he financially supported him, and they like you now that the kid is grown. He's like, they spend a lot of time together and shit like that. So he stepped up.
Yeah,
he ain't one of those cats.
Yeah, no.
I want to pull up some stats that I kind of came up that I pulled off the internet or what have you regarding things, misconceptions. Like a lot of people try to use justifications for why abortion should be illegal. All right, and these are some of the misconceptions that have been debunked many a times. I just kind of want to share with you and the guests or what have you. First one was, there's a big support for ending Roe v. Wade in America. And it says 6 out of 10 U.S. adults say that abortion should be legal in most or all cases. And this is a nationwide poll. It wasn't just of conservative states. So that's one of the big claims that people have. You guys agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Second is, people who are religious don't get abortions. More than 60% of abortion patients have a religious affiliation. So it looks like Catholics are getting it in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You better believe it.
And they use that as kind of a justification for a lot of the abortion laws on the books. Fetuses can feel pain in a pregnancy. Medical researchers agree a fetus is not capable of experiencing pain until the 3rd trimester. However, somewhere between 29 to 30 weeks. Despite this, 16 states have passed abortion bans based on the notion that fetuses experience pain within around 22 weeks. And like I said, most of the medical community agrees with this point. You get some outliers where people have this junk science where they kind of debunk it, but this is kind of the consensus throughout the medical community. What else? What have we got? Abortion is dangerous. Pregnancy and childbirth is far more dangerous than getting an abortion, according to the data from the CDC. Look at how many per 100,000 we got. So that's 17.4 per 100,000 births ended up with the woman dying, with only 0.4 abortions ended up with the women dying. All right, last one. Over 90% of abortions happen in the first trimester. People are getting late-term abortions. 90% of them happen in the first trimester, which is what was recommended, and which is all that pro-choice advocates are kind of fighting for. So they're just some of the stats that I saw kind of debunking some of the claims that have been justified when people are presenting these, coming up with these what they would call pro-life stances and laws that they're making up. Were any of you surprised by any of those stats?
Nope.
No.
Man.
Because here's the thing, and I'm just, listen, I just keep it real on what's real, right? So, I took an associate of mine about 5 years ago to an abortion clinic. She, whatever. This is what had to happen. And she was well within her first trimester, well within like 6-8 weeks, very just missed her period type. And it wasn't something that she wanted to do. She struggled with it. I stayed strong, consulted her and all those different things, to try to make her okay. Once we made it inside, right? Most women, they were like not even showing. There was one lady though, that it stressed me out because she was showing. And, you know, after my friend got inside and she was gone, I texted her to make sure she was okay. I ran to my car and I had to cry, but because that had to be hard, right? Like, we don't know the circumstances of that person's life, because that's not the same as like a vacuum situation, right? You got to literally give birth to that baby. And it's just a different process. And as I was sitting in my car and I was crying, and I looked up, and the protesters and the people that were like out, like protesting, I'm like, y'all aren't even a fucking childbearing age. Why do you care? Like, yo, why do you care? Because at the end of the day, if these ladies, and it was a room full of them, had these babies and they can't afford them, and then they apply for state benefits or they need help of any kind, y'all still the same people that got the energy to be like, oh, no, we got to stop all of this. We need to lower the government. We need to do this. Like, pick a side. Pick a side, guys. And I just want people to mind their own business. Like, everybody has a right to who they are, because if that's what America is really about, right? If that's what this place is about, then allow people to do that. Stay out of other grown ass people business. Period. Like, because I hurt for that lady. Outside of thinking about all of the baby or whatever, I thought about the trauma that woman had to live through. Those women that were sitting in there, they were not happy. It wasn't like they was like, yeah, girl, let's do this. I mean, shit, many of them were crying. Some had their husbands or baby or their, boyfriends with them. It was not easy. And so I think it's just rude. I think it's wrong to have such strong opinions about a decision someone else has to make, because these are not easy decisions. They're not easy decisions. And typically people who have had this experience, they're not like, sign my ass back up so I can do it again. No, that's not how that goes. It's very traumatizing.
Well, that brings up an interesting point. It was like, some people who are trying to find a happy median are saying that a lot of women are using it as a form of birth control. They have baby, they get pregnant, and they're saying, okay, I'm going to have an abortion because, there's women out there having 2, 3, and sometimes 4 abortions because they keep getting pregnant or what have you. Some of the people are saying that you should only be able to allow one, abortion without conditions, meaning that your life is in danger. The kid has some deformities or something that could possibly make it to where the kid may die, the fetus may die, or it wasn't a rape situation, or it wasn't like an incest or anything like that. They're saying that you should be able to have one, and then anything else that you have to go through a kind of like, I don't know, it's like, what would you call it for, like when you drunk drive, you got to go through like a training course. You need to go onto like a responsibility type training course to like sin again. And then if you have another, and the needs to where you have another one, that you should pay it 100%, and you should pay, like, it should cost you quite a bit more. And with people like, so what is your opinion on that?
I just want to know, why do they care so much? Why do they care so much? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if a woman gets pregnant 3 times and she says she wants to have an abortion or she says she doesn't want that baby each and every time, and she feels like she wants to get an abortion, sis, go right ahead, because I would rather for her to have an abortion 3 times than to bring 3 kids into the world that she does not want. And because chances are she's going to treat them like she doesn't want them. Chances are she's going to neglect them. Chances are she's not going to teach them and rear them. Like when a woman says, I don't want this baby, just like when a man says, I don't want this baby, what do men do when they say they don't want a baby? They disappear. So if a woman says that she doesn't want a baby, she can't really disappear. She has to take care of it. And so the quality of care that that child receives 9 times out of 10 is going to suck. I haven't met anybody that said, I don't want my baby. But then when they have it, it's just like, oh my God, a light bulb is going. I love being a mom. Like, I was just so wrong. Like, and it does kind of depend on the situation too. Like, if little Becky, okay, who lives in Beverly Hills, California, doesn't want her baby, but she has it, well, Becky's family's probably going to kick in. You know, like, they have money. They can get nannies, or somebody will probably come in and pretend like that's their baby. Right. But my Keisha, who lives in South Central LA,
right,
it's going to be a different experience. 9 times out of 10, she's going to have to take care of that baby. No one's going to want to babysit that child. No, people are probably going to take advantage of that child. You know, she's probably going to need services that she can't even get.
Yeah.
And she's uneducated. She doesn't know anything about life. She hasn't worked. So, I mean, just because somebody is irresponsible doesn't mean that you get to stick it to them. If it doesn't impact your life, that's her life. That's their life. Why do people care so much? Because all these
Planned Parenthood is subsidized by tax dollars, so it is your money paying for her to be reckless. If she's having 4 and 5 abortions or whatever like that, also, you're paying for it too.
But tax dollars also go into welfare, food stamps, all those services that people need because they are unable to be on their own, to stand on their own 2 feet. Mm-hmm. And they're actually trying to they're constantly cutting those services. Exactly. So, you know, all of these people that are in prison, these people that are getting shot, but who cares about their life? Like, how come we don't care about their life? So I feel like these people they're not pro-life, they're pro-birth. They just want the birth to happen. And Jazz, I never thought about that. A lot of those old women that are out there that are way past the childbearing, maybe that's their problem. Maybe that's their problem. They can't have children anymore. Yeah. Or maybe they never could have children. So they feel like, how dare you?
I was watching this comedian and he said that he went out to like women protesting. He was like, so if she has a baby, he's like, so how many babies have you adopted? They was like, well, I have my own kids. I didn't adopt. It's like, so how you gonna tell this woman about adoption and you ain't willing to adopt a kid?
That's it. And that's another thing. Like, as far as Black babies
being adopted,
they're the most no one adopts them.
We are the last ones adopted.
Right. Nobody.
A Black boy is not getting adopted. He's the last of the last to get adopted.
Yeah.
No.
But I want to touch on something you said earlier, like when you first started talking about it, is at what point do we as a community demand more of, you said, Markeisha, that look, Markeisha, you can't be sitting up there and having 4, we like who should be the point to be like, look, you've had 2. What are we going to do to make sure it's obvious that you are not responsible and you may not have it's obviously not responsible. What are we going to do to make sure that you aren't sitting there having abortion after abortion after abortion? You know, what are some of the things? Who should take it? Should it be the government mandating it? Should it be the family? Who? All right, Jazz, go ahead.
All right, listen. Okay, again, people are having this conversation who has not been in these rooms. Okay, So the first person who's talking to you about your decision, you go through a counseling process before you have an abortion. You can't just sign up and just go in there and pay your money. Because remember, they're paying for it. The further along pregnant you are, the more expensive that bill is. Okay, so this ain't something that you can get, right off on your taxes, any of that type of stuff, right? This is not that, right? So it's much cheaper to pay for all types of birth control than it is to have one damn abortion in a year, okay? So one of the things is I can just tell by the conversations that's being had on the internet, the news, everything, none of these people have been in this room, okay? So before you even start this whole process, there's a questionnaire, just like when you're going to the doctor. there's a questionnaire. Once you get in there, there's a counseling process, right? So you don't go from the chair outside to a vacuum machine. No. After your counseling happens, right? It's a lot that happens there. Then you finally see somebody who even talks to you again.
And when you're in counseling, add this, when you're in counseling, they actually ask you, do you want to hear the baby's heartbeat?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a lot of things that people just don't understand. So to keep saying that my Keisha or Becky is having all these damn abortions, like, bro, until you've been in that room and you understand, like, a woman has to hear that. That is like, anytime you hear anything that you think sounded like that, that is PTSD, onset, and anxiety. So people are not, like, you will have an outlier out there who didn't have like 5 of them. Okay, she an outlier. But for the most part, right, we're talking about for most people, that is not the case. Like, women are very, very, very emotional. Like, we feel, no matter even if you think you tough like me, like, you feel shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So this isn't something to be, it's not like that. It's not like that. And I don't like the commentary. And I get it, it's very sensitive for a lot of us women to really stand up and really talk about it. But I think until, like, real women who've been through real shit say, like, yo, that's a man's commentary, that's not from a woman. Because if me and Shannon sit in a room together and we have a couple of drinks and we have this as a common bond, Shannon, are we happy about it? Or we're most likely end up crying about it? We end up crying about it.
But is it enough to get you to be more proactive to make sure you don't happen again? Because what is it enough? Because it's sounding like, you know, a lot of times it's not enough for you to say, okay, I don't want to ever go through that shit again. Let me make sure 100% time he's strapped up. Let me get on some form of IUD or whatever like that. Get some form of birth control or whatever. That if I'm going to be the type that what's called it, let me get in, you know, NuvaRing or whatever that there it is, or the shot or whatever like that. Is it why
at
isn't
the end of the day, it's not my business.
Right.
If somebody wants to have 20 abortions and you want to tear yourself up and you want to keep putting yourself through that, that's none of my business.
Yep.
That's none of my business. But what I know I don't want, what would be my business is if you got 10 of them kids running around that you never tried to raise, and now they're wreaking havoc on society, my community.
That's a whole bigger issue. Come on.
Let me get to the comment real quick. TJ said federal tax dollars can't be used for abortions at Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood does more than abortions. I get that, but if they're subsidized by the government, then the money is going to abortions. So I mean,
well, a lot of Planned Parenthoods have been closed down here in Georgia.
That's true.
Atlanta. So, but that's really sad because Planned Parenthood offers so much more than abortions.
Mm-hmm.
So much more, and they are needed.
The people in the comments, if you got questions, feel free to drop them. We'd love to address them, what have you. We want to know what your perspective. If you're watching, if you have a different perspective, or if you want us to kind of address a specific point, please drop it in there. And if you haven't liked or subscribed, please like and subscribe and share and click on the notification buttons, because we do this every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, and we want to make sure that you don't miss any of the stuff that we got going on. And if you got ideas for something you want us to discuss, bring it to the table. But like I said, I want to make sure all the people watching have liked, subscribed, and then feel free to comment so we can discuss what you were saying. All right. So, okay.
So I have a question. I want to ask a question. Because I've seen a lot of men.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of men so happy about this, and I'm confused about that. But I have seen in the comments where a lot of men are just cheering this on, like hooray. So if women are unable to have abortions, how is this going to affect men and the child support that they hate to pay?
I don't get that. Like, you know, I'm trying to understand the point of it. You know, maybe it's a lot of guys who have different religious beliefs that are thinking that this may be a great thing, and you know, think that you know, that children are a gift from God or what have you, and you need to have these babies or what have you. Or,
So
you know, one of the points that Jazz made was that, you know, they feel like there's not enough white babies being born, and it'll help replenish the white race because and that's true. It's just like that statistically, the birth rate for white families and white babies have gone down
Yes.
for the first time, and
and that's because of abortion. That's because of abortion.
that's
That
what
has
they
been linked.
that's what a lot of people. But like I said, these are those people who have theories but no evidence as it. So you know, I'll only
No,
take that with a grain of salt.
their birth rates have just went down. I'll send you an article that I read because it's a book that's actually out on this theory because there's a guy who talked about it many years ago, but he was talking about we need to stop allowing America needs to stop allowing white people to have abortions and just different things to be able to replenish because the rate of births were going down. It wasn't necessarily due to abortions, but I'll send it to you as soon as I can find it because I totally forgot about it for this show today. Now we were talking about this, so I dropped that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just what's happened. There's been a change because remember, historically, people were having babies originally in their teens, then their 20s, and now people are even waiting. A lot of couples are waiting to their 30s before they even start having kids, and they're not having as many as they were. When you know, you got 20s, you got energy, and you got a lot of help from family and support. From a lot of cases, you'll have 4 and 5 kids. Nobody's doing that much anymore. You know, you get the 2 and done, or 3 and done, and stuff like that a lot. That's what seems to be going on a lot nowadays. You know, I don't know anybody who actually, I do know somebody has a ton of kids, but most people only have 2 or 3 kids.
Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to add this one commentary, just because it seems like the people that are the most upset, right? And we're humans. So I understand the reason that most of our minds are shaped is a lot based on emotion. And people don't want to believe that, but your experience creates a certain knee-jerk reaction within your body and within your life in which you say you believe. So a lot of times when people are so pissed off about, abortion or whatever, the woman probably didn't have any kids, wanted more, it took her a long time to get pregnant. I'm sensitive to all those things, right? I'm sensitive to all those things. However, but just like I'm sensitive to the woman who has a very hard time getting pregnant, there's others of us that a man sits in a damn room with us and we get pregnant. Okay. So like there's certain
We know somebody like that, huh, Shannon? I was kidding.
So I'm just saying it's people that like literally, are a lot more fertile. And yes, it's a gift from God, but sometimes you don't know that you're gifted in certain ways, right? So when life brings these things on, and then once you realize, hey, this is my gift. Whoo, oh God, I didn't mean to come here to the planet with this gift. We need to curtail this bad boy. But that's how life is sometimes, right? Like we have to figure it out. Like I know people, and even myself, like being on birth control, damn it, you miss more than a couple of them bad boys, and it can happen. Traveling, partying, you done fell asleep, just like we shouldn't fall asleep with makeup on. But damn it, sometimes you didn't take your damn birth control pill. All these different things can happen. A long day at work, you sitting there, and then you wake up, oh shit, it's a new day, right?
Yeah.
So it's so many different things that can happen, right? And people don't take any of those things in consideration. And the reason that they're not is because the people who are talking the most are the ones that, number one, can't have babies. Number two, you struggle with having children, and that's okay. But just like I don't put pressure on you about what you should eat so you can become more fertile, don't worry about what another woman do. Okay, so that's that.
Too.
Yeah, it's just a whole nother thing. And last point, when I think about my best friend, and she was with her husband, and so mind you, she's married. They already had 3 children. She didn't want any more. Did you hear me? She didn't want any more. Okay, so she went to the doctor. She got a freaking IUD. Guess what, guys?
She got pregnant.
Damn right, the baby is here on Earth, and
Yeah.
because
That happened to my cousin too.
hmm?
That happened to my cousin too. She had a IUD and ended up pregnant and didn't even know it. And she
Right.
decided to keep it.
Yeah, and she didn't know either. And I forgot what medical issues she was beginning to have, and that's how she found out that she was pregnant. And so they had to literally wait until the baby was like big enough or something where they were able to safely remove the IUD because the baby was strong enough to be able to live outside of her womb. But
Wow.
you know, people don't want to talk about those type of things, right? But she did everything necessary to prevent from having a kid. So after this baby came, it was just like, fuck it, take everything, clip it, burn it, donate it to science, do whatever you got to do, because obviously, you know, her gift runneth over. She'd end up with 12 kids if she didn't just.
Wow.
But
I mean,
you know,
I think in married situations, I think that's we need to explore a little bit more. Like if you have 3, you need to explore more permanent solutions, what have you. Like, you know, I got a vasectomy after once we found out we're having our 3rd kid, because I knew I wasn't going to try to. I knew that any other type of birth control would probably be not realistic for us. So I just said, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and have a vasectomy. That way, I'm taking responsibility to ensure that, you know, there's not a lot of birth, or you know, my wife don't have to go through a bunch of stuff in order to in order to make sure we don't have any more kids. And I think that's a different subject. I think a lot of people have been throwing around like, oh, men should be having vasectomies. I even heard where somebody was saying men should have vasectomies at 18 and then get it reversed when they're ready to have kids. I mean, you know, number one, that's no man is going to do that. No man, you know, is going to do that, because men just don't like other men touching their balls. So,
Well, see,
you know, if they can avoid it.
I mean, that's something that men need to get over then, because then you don't have to be crying, you know, a year later about somebody putting you on child support.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just like, but it's.
I mean, like, why not?
Vasectomies aren't 100% reversible. That's what I think. I got, you know, you can have it if I decided, you know what, I want to have another kid, which I won't. It'd be very expensive, not covered under any type of insurance, and it's not 100%. So it's just, you know, it's just not a realistic thing. We got a new comment from Beezy. This is some of the most honest, hard-hitting discussion I've heard on this subject. Well, thank you, Beezy. We appreciate that. We're trying to keep it 100%. We keep it a buck here. You know, the one thing we're not trying to do is like sugarcoat it or what have you, and we try to input a little personal experience with the subjects that we talk about. So knowing that if we're talking about something, one or more of us have either experienced it or had some type of direct connection with it. Those are the type of topics we try to strive to have, because it makes for a more honest and upfront conversation. And like I said, we appreciate you guys watching. So, you know.
And can I just add another point that you just made, Damien, on the slide here? So speaking of vasectomies, right? Like, that's just not a thing in our community of people, you know, that look like us, right? So like, even when you said it, like when you said it one time and you was like, so, you know, proud of it. And I was happy that you was proud of it. But I was just like, I remember vividly like talking to like my ex-husband, and like I remember vividly talking to people like, listen, like, I don't think it's fair that I'm the only one that has to look at, you know, options of birth control. Like, I don't want any more children. And I thought that it was the responsible thing to do that he go get nipped. Like, let's do that. Hell no, not doing that. Blah, 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 blah. Bro, so, but it's fair for me to go keep laying on these cold, sterile ass tables to get IUDs and do this and do that. Like, that's not fair. So you get all the pleasure, all of this, you slip up and have sex with another woman, her ass pregnant too, I just said I ain't want no more kids. And I just think it's that part of the conversation too, that like we need to be a lot more aware and educated on, and stop making it just about the woman doing something. Many men, once you get to a certain number and you hit that target number, whatever that is, if you grew up and you was like, I only want one kid or I want two, you hit your target number, bruh, tap out. You good.
Yeah.
And you get in your next relationship, sorry, sweetie, we can adopt, but I can't do it, you know?
Yeah.
But it forced me into another decision I had to make, because you're not about to do that to me and then I'm stuck on the hook 40 weeks carrying a child that I said I didn't want. So, you know,
I think they need to be more education in the Black community about vasectomies. I really think that is a viable thing. I think, you know, don't get me wrong, as men, we spend our whole life trying to protect our junk, as opposed, you know, from all kinds of shit that might happen to it. To think that we voluntarily doing something to it is just kind of, it's just crazy to people. So I think what it is that
even logical, dang. The stuff he was saying, I'm like, do you hear yourself? Hell yeah, I hear myself. Do you fucking hear yourself? Don't think somebody need to do that to me. I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
It's
just
their
like
ego. It's the ego. It's
dudes
the ego.
think that it's going to affect their ability to get it up, or sex is not going to feel the same, and it's just none of that. It's actually, it's exactly the same. So it's just one of those things where, you know, I
It's
think
the
if
ego
there's,
thing, I think.
yeah, it's just like, you know, they feel like it's taking away their potency, because that's what we are as men. We are the spreader of seeds and all that bullshit.
oh, see?
But I mean, it's just one of those things where,
The
you
spreader of
know,
seeds.
you know, that's what we do. We're supposed to be able to fertilize. That's they define their manhood by being able to procreate or what have you. But I'm like that cat who had like 32 kids. I'm like, dude, we know you got super sperm. You can stop at 8. You don't need to get all the way to 30-something.
No.
You know, and that could bring up a whole different discussion. Like, how you know, how many baby mamas is letting this fool is going? What happened to baby mama that had number 32? You know, that's what I want to know. You know, but that's for a whole different discussion. It's like, at what point, like, who wants to be the 6th baby mama?
No.
You know,
But
What
you
is-
see, I don't. Do you guys know who Kiki Wyatt is, right?
yeah, she's had 11 kids.
She's got hella kids.
11.
And it seems that I see her get a lot of backlash from the Black community. I see her get a lot of backlash. They make fun of her. They drag her. I don't really see her here where people are congratulating her, like, oh wow, you know, she had all these kids. She kept her kids. She kept every single kid. No, actually, our community kind of drags her.
Mm-hmm.
But then want to turn around and be like, oh, you shouldn't get an abortion because of XYZ.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it's a lot of hypocrisy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shannon, come on.
Yeah,
A lot of hypocrisy.
but a lot of it, like you said, come from the old, Miss Bernice from the church, who got a problem with it because she was wild when she was young, and she done got saved, and now she don't want nobody doing nothing. You know,
I'm
that's
sorry,
what it is.
I don't want to offend anybody, but that's why I said no on that long time ago, because none of it makes sense, and I'm not with the hypocrisy. So
yeah,
But
so it's just like,
here's the thing with Kiki, right? I don't know if you guys know this, but the baby she just had, Shannon, is severely,
deformed. She got down.
Birth issues, yeah.
Well, yeah, she's older, but she's one of those people that's super fertile, because I'm like, how is she doing this?
Yeah.
This brings up a good point.
Boom, 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 boom.
This brings up a good point. Like, I'm gonna bring up Nick Cannon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is this? He said he got 7 kids now. Is that right? And he got 3 more on the way. He's got a woman that's about to have twins, and he got another woman. It's rumored he got 3 more about to drop this year. Is he what is he a fuck boy, or is he like should he be called out as much as the Kiki Wyatts of the community? Should he be called out? Just it is money a determining factor on whether or not you get called out?
Of course it is.
I think he's a fuck boy. Well, I'm not gonna say no. I don't think he's a fuck boy, but I think he's irresponsible and selfish. And the fact that he has, because a lot of people say, "Well, he can take care of him. He can take care of them." But haven't we already come to the conclusion that the ideal situation for any child is to be with their mother and father at the same time, all under one roof? So, I mean, the fact that he makes a lot of money means nothing. Those kids are going to miss out. They're going to miss out. And, yeah, and then he's ill, right? So they
got lupus.
He's could possibly check out here sometime soon.
So do you think we should, as a community, we should like hold the men and the women just as equally accountable for putting themselves in this kind of situation where it's multiple kids, multiple births, stuff like that, equally?
Kiki's situation is she has all her kids with her. They're not,
and she's married. She
yes.
Like, I think the last 6 have been with the same man. She's like married to this dude.
She has all, and even if she wasn't married, they're all under the same roof with her, and they're being parented by her. Okay. So with Nick Cannon, that's not the case. And it could very well be the case. I'm pretty sure that if he said to all of his baby mamas, except for Mariah, right, I want to marry you guys, or I want to have all of y'all under one roof, y'all be sister wives, ain't nobody gonna oppose, because he's rich. That's, Nick Cannon. But he wants to go.
And he got a big penis, Shannon. Hold on.
He got a big penis?
Yeah, he got a couple things working in his favor. I just wanted to throw that in there.
I didn't know, girl. I didn't know.
I just wanted to put that in there.
So he got beefcake. He got major beefcake.
You know, that's a determining factor.
Okay.
You be like,
so let me. Well, hold up. This took a turn, but I want to explore where this may be an interesting turn that it took. Okay, so let me get this straight. The fact that he might be packing should be a determining factor on whether or not the woman have his baby.
No,
but
explain that to me, Jazz.
Hell no.
I know you are resident expert on all things hot and spicy. So
I'm just saying, when he making love to you and talking,
I want this baby.
That's right. It reach a different, depth in the woman. And that's true. The whole heart, and we like, you know what?
You acting like there's notches, and his first go is like, okay, I might call you again. Yeah. I might cook you dinner. I might put you on my credit. I might have your baby. It's like how far you get in touch. That's where you gonna hit.
So after he gets to a certain thing, you can touch the whole heart. We like, oh yeah, I can see me having your baby. Look at your features. Yeah,
and you rich,
man. That's funny.
But yeah, no,
damn,
no. And these women that are having children with him, I get it. He's rich, so that's gonna happen. They looking for a bag. They looking to be secured, and unfortunately, you could secure your whole life just by having a baby. Have a baby by me, baby. Be a millionaire, right?
Yeah.
But everybody's irresponsible because they're not thinking of the children. They're just thinking of themselves. And then society's looking at it like, oh, but he's got money. He can afford to take care of them. Yeah, but I mean,
that goes into our
had money were still unhappy.
That kind of goes into one of the shows we had back, our second show, where we were saying how, if something were to happen to him, even though, he can financially provide for them, and if he were to pass, you can leave them with money or what have you. The next man is already set up to be, you're going to be a stepdaddy to multiple kids.
Right.
So. And
this is what everyone's daddy, Kevin Samuels, was talking about, right? Y'all don't want to be stepdaddies. Don't be stepdaddies. Well, what is Nick Cannon setting his children up to have?
Well,
Yeah.
that's if he died of lupus, right? Like that's if,
Yeah.
right? That's if he doesn't take care of himself. So because of my, my real life profession and what I do, he continues to take care of himself. He do run the shit out of himself, which is a concern sometimes. But if he really do take care of himself, he'll be okay. The reality is everybody's on track to die. There's only one way to get off of planet Earth. You gotta die. There's only one way. So even
You
like
can't go in the
myself,
spaceship? You can't get in the spaceship?
yeah, here we go. She done had a joint before the show, and she on the spaceship too. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, that's why I have to tell people. I be like, you're not about to get raptured off this planet. It's only one way. But so the thing is like we all have to set our kids up financially, right? We all have to make sure they have life insurance and everything because we don't know when we're gonna die, right? We don't know. So that's just being a smart person. But I'll say this, just from my outside looking in, because we don't really know the details of these relationships. And typically with these type of relationships, unlike things like Future, where you definitely don't see the kids' moms showing up to the other kids' moms' events and things like that. With Nick Cannon's, it seems like a supportive village, despite what we, in our opinion, want to say, right?
Yeah.
It don't seem like it's any bickering. It don't seem like it's any bullshit. It seems like honestly, these women are in support of the other person. Like
they've made a conscious, informed choice to have this dude, knowing that he's going to be with other women, probably having babies with other women. He didn't surprise them. Would it be like, oh, you thought you was the only one?
Right. Yeah, just like the baby did to that young girl, real pretty girl. What was her name?
Danny Lee.
There you go. Danny Lee said on an interview, and it pissed me off, and I have zero respect for the baby since then. Even though he's a fucking kid, if he apologized, I'll forgive him.
He's a fuckboy.
He's a fuckboy. She said that was her first time a man had ever said that he wanted to have a baby with her and build a life with her. That's why she had that baby.
And she went for it.
Yeah, but she's a kid, so they're experiencing life, right? So there's a difference between being deceived, right? Because the pussy feel good, things feel good, and you deceive a person and then you play her on social media like, nah, you my side chick. That's just completely wrong. And then you have Nick Cannon's situation where he's like, listen, Shannon, you're a beautiful person. I would love to see another me and you on this planet, blah, blah, blah. Because it's more than just having a kid, right? He's looking at what Shannon brings to the planet. And I'm just saying that based on Nick Cannon being in the entertainment industry for years. He's not a dumb businessman, right? So I believe that he's like conscious enough, thoughtful enough that he's going to make sure Shannon is taken care of, I'm taken care of, Melissa taken care of, and not just financially, but making sure our kids are taken care of, and then making sure emotionally that, he built some type of community. But that's a whole different thing than what people are used to, because poly relationships are a thing. It's just the communication is a lot different and the contracts look a little different.
So I just think that Nick Cannon should, if that's where he's coming from, then he needs to have all of his children and all of his children's mother in the same house under one roof. He can afford to do it.
They would have to agree with that. They would have to. Well,
then otherwise, so otherwise, it's like we're losing
in the same house.
What we're losing is what the children need, and they need more than money. They need attention. Mm-hmm. They need attention. They need teaching. They need quality time with both parents.
I agree.
But I think it's much easier for like if I had 10 children, mm-hmm. it's gonna be versus one, it's gonna be a lot easier for me to give all of my love and attention to one child versus 10.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna get left out. Somebody's gonna be feeling like I don't matter. Someone's gonna be feeling like, man, fuck all this money. I never mattered. you know, somebody's gonna feel left out. Like, and that
Yeah, I think in his situation, the separation is what makes it work as far as they're having multiple kids for both moms. Because if he had them in, I really do feel like if he had them in the same house, then you setting them up to see a whole different other thing. Maybe they confused on what a relationship looks like. They don't see like a positive relationship with a man and a woman. They see women probably bickering with each other, fighting and all that kind of stuff. They see a dude probably hopping from house to house or room to room, kind of the different women. So
well,
I think you're setting them up for a whole different world of it.
And that's what I'm about to say. Like, even when I looked at some show on Netflix, they were like the Mormon church or somebody. But like one of the things that the children, once they got older, said that they could tell that the two moms were arguing. They could tell who was more favored, just different things like that in the household, right? So I'll use a brother who originally helped me understand how this poly thing can work. If people follow him or they don't, I ain't trying to really shout him out, but Brother Polite, he has multiple wives, right? And I like how he treats them.
Oh my God, I think he tried to follow me, y'all. I think he did follow me.
Girl,
So to make you another wife.
That's it.
let me Sarah's got a quick comment real quick.
Go ahead.
He said, like Shannon, not enough attention to go around. Percy said, you have more than 4 kids, one of them gonna be on crack. He said, like Shannon said, not enough attention to go around. I get it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it's just like no one's focusing on that. No, like it's not a real thing. Like kids feel left out, and then I mean, I remember when I was little and I found out that, you know, my sister was going to be born, you know, I kind of felt slighted a little bit. Like, you know, I mean, part of me was happy, like, yay. But then a part of me was like, wait a minute. So now I got to share my mom. Now I got to, you know, can you imagine? Like, I mean, that happening over and over and over and over and over again to the first kid or to the second kid. Like, damn, there's more. There's, you know, I mean,
but they don't see that. They see him like they just see, hey, I got this dude who comes over and
I think that's
like what's call it. They see the fun. They don't see the competition.
I think that's irresponsible. And then it's like, what kind of relationship are you setting up for them to have with their siblings? I mean, I never see Mariah's kids and his other kids together. Not saying that they don't get together, but I kind of doubt it. I doubt that Mariah's 2 kids, Morocco and what's her name, Monroe and Morocco. I doubt that, you know, they're constantly going to see the other siblings. I mean, so many siblings. Like, how do they form a bond with each other? How do they? I don't know. I just feel like it's irresponsible.
Amy Johnson, I don't think Nick is looking for a sister wife situation. He just wants to spread his legacy. That's what a lot of people are saying. If the women go for it, that's just their choice.
Of course. But again, we're not talking about the kids. Again,
when you got money, it's a legacy. When you broke, you just a broke ass dude.
And like I said, again,
I don't think it's fair until just like if like in the beginning, people looked at Brother Polite the same way, right? But until he really broke down with his wife's permission of what things really look like and how they cultivate a community to look out for one another, like it's kind of hard to really speak to those different things. I don't know. I'm not there. But at the same time, I don't want to think that a man that is as successful as he is and brought himself as far as he has is just all of a sudden flipped a crazy fuck switch, like, and you know, just
it's the sickness. It's the sickness that got him wanting to. He's really like seeing it. It's focusing him on his mortality. So he's like, you know, I could die. What have I left behind? Yeah, the money's gonna be gone, but these kids are gonna be here to tell the tale. That's what his mind is at.
I think that's a trauma response. I think that is he's coming from a traumatic place. Yeah.
Yeah, what's called. Well, this has been an amazing show. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to Terrence Johnson. He's been rocking with us, putting some good comments. And I want to give a shout out to Amy Johnson. She's been rocking with us tough too. So I want to say thank you to her for rocking with us and being with us. Please feel free to come back, like, share the comment. Like I said, if you guys have stuff you want us to talk about, stuff you want to discuss, please feel free to drop it in the comments, and we'll definitely address it. So, set that notification up so you can see what we're doing and what the next topic is going to be. I got a feeling, I don't know, Jazz, correct me if I'm wrong, Jazz is going to take the lead on the next one, and the next topic is going to be something caliente, salsa caliente.
Well, that's
up in this thing. So she's gonna put something in hot for you, what have you. She's got we talked to her after we shut these things up, and people were like, "Man, we need to put this on the Patreon," because this is hot, So we need to have her kind of lead the charge on the next show, so we can have something a little bit more spicy. Because, like I said, we want to even it out. We want to have enough, relationship stuff. We want some politics stuff, but we also want some fun, just keep people entertained stuff. We want to have you think about stuff, but we also want you to think about spicy stuff as well. So, with that being
and
said,
let me just add before we close. If anybody out there needs abortion services, you can still get an abortion if you need to. You're just going to have to travel, but there are services out there. There are programs that will help you. So I'm sorry I didn't bring that information, but if you Google it, or if you even type in Roe v. Wade on Instagram, it will bring up pages that have resources for, women who need those services.
What we will do is we will link it in the chat. I'll put it in the description. It'll probably be in the next couple of days. So Shannon's going to send me some information, and I'm going to just drop it in the description. So if you're looking at, you can come back to this show and get the information you need on it. So thank you for bringing that up. That's super important. Yeah. All right. So like I said again, thank you so much. We really appreciate y'all rocking with us for this hour and a half or so. And don't forget, next we do this thing every Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern. So you'll definitely enjoy our next show if you've been rocking out with this show. So, all right, y'all.
Thank you.
Out.